if we have something. So we should start having something on YouTube as of now. So you can just please check to see if we've picked up the recording. So if you're on YouTube, just give us feedback, please. So I'm going to open Visual Studio Code as usual. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open that same folder we've been working on, just to go over the assignment. Yeah, so this is it. So I think what we are looking at is this folder, yeah, OIBC class. So that's where we'll be working from. So I think we have a visitor on the call. So let me just add up the person to the call. Okay, person to the call. No way. Okay, so I was trying to use this to test. So this is my Brave browser. So I think YouTube is working now. So I'm just going to run as fast as possible with the project so that we don't spend so much time. And that's because there are lots of things to do in today's class. So I don't want us to spend a lot of time creating that particular card. So we have index.html, and I uploaded the link to the code. So you guys got the code right. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
You guys got the gist link, I mean the code to the previous class.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's just go on to start creating this card. So I'm just going to, I'm not sure where that stuff is on my computer anymore, but let me just try and get the asset for that particular class. So when we get the asset, I'm actually going to start it down. So I think this is it. Okay, so I think I should just drag this over here, drag it over. So just before, so I copied that folder where those assets and everything is. So I'll just try to get the image and every other image that we need for the project. So I'm just going to drag this and put it inside the main folder, project folder, and then I'm going to open the design and drag this desktop design also into the project folder so that we can be able to, desktop preview, so that we can be able to look at it. And in that, once I do that, I'll just go on to delete. Let me just make sure I have everything. Then the style guide too, I'm going to drag it out so that we can have it. So once I do that, I'll go on to delete that folder I copied initially, because we shouldn't be needing anything from it anymore. So our index.html is what it was from the last class. So I'm just going to, take out everything inside of it and start a fresh boilerplate. So that will be this. So I'm just going to call the title of our page NFT card. Yeah. So it's going to be very similar to the other card we designed, and I'm sure that it seems like a couple of persons missed that class. That's why there's a challenge. So basically this is what we are designing. Yeah, so we are going to be designing this and that's it. So let me just open this with live server inside of our Brave browser. Okay, it doesn't open in Brave browser, so let me just copy the link that I generated on Chrome and paste it here. So it is basically 127.0.0.1 at port 5000. So this is it. So there's nothing on the page, it's just blank. And just to make sure that we are on the right page, so let me just do NFT. So this is it. So we are on the right page. So that we can have some context, let me also remove everything in the CSS. So to have some context, let me just, with the universal selector, let me remove default margin, setting it to 0, and remove default padding as well, setting it to 0. And let's just quickly take a look at the style guide, and let me remove auto save so that you guys can see what I'm doing. So the font we are using is Outfit, just like the last time. So we're going to go to Google Fonts and get the Outfit font, and we are using 3 font weight categories. 300, 600, and 400. So we'll go to Google Fonts. So going to Google Fonts, let me just expand this particular window and get the font we need. So the font we need, the name is Outfit. So yeah, so just get the Outfit. Yeah, so this font is Outfit. That's what we are looking for. So we just search for Outfit, and this is it. So let me expand it just for you to see the process. So what I'm doing basically, let me expand this one. What I'm doing basically is we know we need 3 font weight categories, and that's from our guide here. We have font weight 600, font weight 400, font weight 300, and I doubt if each one you all understand what the font weight does. But if you don't understand, I'm just going to explain it while we are trying to apply it. So I will select 300 and I'll select, I think, 400 and 600 here, and I'll select 400, then I'll select 600 here. So now we have that font in our what's it called, in our project. So I'm going to copy the HTML version. You can copy the CSS version if you want. Copy the HTML version and put it in the head tag of our HTML page file rather. So I'm going to create an HTML comment just to let you know that that's where we are importing the font from. So I'll say Google font, and then just underneath it we paste what we copied, and after pasting I'll save it so that I can format it for me, just indent it properly for me rather. Then the font family we want is Outfit, so I'll just copy the font family, and then we'll go back to our CSS, and then I just call the body and the HTML. Sorry, let's be in this order. So you can actually select this HTML element using the tag name selector, which is this main HTML element. So that's what we're going to do now. So we'll just select the HTML element, comma the body element, and we're going to apply that font size. Yeah. So the way you can actually combine, you can set the same CSS rule for 2 different selectors, or you just need to separate them with a comma. I can still add another selector here, maybe like a div, or add another one like an h2, and it's still going to work perfectly. So you can use comma to select various selectors so that you can use the same rule set with them. But for now, let's just use our HTML and body tag, apply this font family to them. Yeah, so the next thing we are going to do, and just to be sure that that font is working, so let me close this Google font page and let's reduce this window back, and I'll save this project. And okay, the font doesn't seem to be working for some reason, so let me just kind of take a look at that again. Okay. Okay, it isn't working. Maybe something is wrong with how I copied the link. So let me just go back to Google Fonts and check again once. So Google Fonts, and what we are looking for is Outfit, right? So try to get the Outfit font. So Outfit. This is it. Outfit, yeah. So I think we've done the most thing copying it. So we already have the font copied, but for some reasons it doesn't work. Let's try and import it in our CSS. Just copying this and see what happens. So I'm probably missing something out. Let's import it at the very top, the very beginning of our CSS file. Let's save and see if that's applied to our page. It doesn't still get applied. So what I might do is let me just stop live server and start it afresh again. See, that's a problem. Okay, that isn't working still. So I'm sure we copied the exact font we needed. So for some reasons it doesn't work. Let's inspect it and see why that is happening. So for the body and HTML, so okay, sorry, I think I know why that is not working. Let me delete this. Can anybody guess why it isn't working? If you're following. Hello. Is anybody here with me? Okay, please let this be the
Can
point.
you please just go back to the index sheet?
Okay. Let this be the point when we turn on our videos, please. I can't see anybody's face and it's making me nervous. Hello.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah, so I said why was the font not working? I just spotted the problem. So I want to know if you guys spotted the problem as well. Hello?
No.
Okay, the problem is because I haven't linked the CSS in my HTML. So that's why it isn't working. Once I do this and say, let's link, since that's the syntax, link CSS. And once you do link, and this happens most of the time, you can just forget to link your CSS and you start wondering what is wrong. I don't know if that's happened to any of you before, but it happens to me a lot. So and at the moment, I also want to guarantee you that this is not going to work. So I want to see if you guys can spot the problem immediately. What's the problem again? It doesn't work. Even after linking our CSS.
Just styles instead of style.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So now you see that it works and everything is fine. Okay. God forbid, I don't know who is knocking this thing this time. Please can you check outside? I don't know why. This is something. Wow. Sorry guys. The person has been hitting the wall since almost, I think, the morning. I just want to rebuild this house. Okay, so I think just to okay now so at this point, so let's just go. This is our goal. So let's go to the style guide and the color we first need to apply to our background. So this is the very dark blue. This is the very dark blue. Okay, the main dark blue is this one. Yeah, the dark blue for the card is this one, and then the dark blue for the line is this one. Okay, so let's get the main dark blue, the HSL color. You guys remember what I said about HSL? I said HSL does what exactly? How does it work? So we are going to tweak the body, just the body this time, not the body and HTML. I'm going to apply a background. I remember that now we understand that we can actually use a shorthand property for background. So instead of writing full background color, we can just still apply the color and it still works. Jesus, what did I copy? Okay. So this is what I'm trying to copy actually. So I'll copy this and come here to paste it. Ctrl V or right click and paste it. Yes, so after doing this we save it, so we should have that dark background. So I think that's what we have here. So the next thing we need to do is to we have to start doing a couple of things. Okay, I think I have to pause now and just go and meet this person.
Mr. Casey, how far?
Me, what I do? Base must not say I go push me more for class.
Today now we shall get it well.
Yeah.
when we made this testimony of this new testimonials part, then I think that when they not they disturb us for this house. I don't know what they not since morning. Okay.
Go now.
And yes, go tell and see that when they not they want something at the game meeting for you and see they disturb my meeting.
Peter, can you check your WhatsApp?
Okay, guys. Sorry about that. I had to send someone to go and help me inform the person to stop, at least stop hitting the thing and as hard as that. So so the next thing we'll do is we know that the width we are looking for mobile view is 375, and then for desktop is 1440. And you don't have to worry yourself about mobile or desktop. We are just going to use one rule, and then it's going to be similar to what we did the last time. So what we are going to do in this case, we are just going to make our body a flex box so that the card can be right in the middle of the body. So what we are going to do is we are going to give our body a display of flex, and then we are going to give it sorry, let me just leave it as this way now so that it can be clear when I'll leave it this way. And let me go to the index.html and just quickly create the the card element inside of the HTML. So we're going to use a div.card, which is going to generate a div, create a div tag, then put a class name of card inside of it. And then looking at and I think I just need to open that thing separately, and that's what's it called, I have to open this card design separately so that I can be seeing it. Okay, I think I need to open it separately because switching between one file and the other is kind of disturbing. So we have a div inside of here, and that div is going to be this main card element here. That's what it is going to be. And then the other thing we will need is, first of all, I want to wrap everything inside of the card inside its own div. So we are going to create another div and call it card image. Yeah, and that's going to wrap our card image, and inside of it we are going to put an image tag. And for now we'll just not put anything inside of it. So I'm just going to say diamond, diamond, not diamond. Then inside of our this we just let's just put the image once and for all. So the image we are looking for is the equilibrium image. Then we'll save it, Ctrl S. Then when we come here we should see something at least pleasant to the eye. So our image is now on the page, and it's inside of that div that is inside of the other div. And what I mean by that is our we have a div element that contains another div element and contains the image. Yeah, so that's what we are doing. So let me just put a comment so that you guys can see what I'm doing here. So this is main card element. So this is the div, this is the card itself, this first element. Then this second one, and I don't like too many comments in HTML or even in any language at all. So this second div is going to be, this is a wrapper for our card and image, for the image inside of our card. Then under this we are now going to create another div for this header and then the paragraph below it. So I just want us to, let's just do the HTML. I won't follow the same approach we followed the last time. So we're going to create another div, and this is going to be this is the div that contains the header elements and a paragraph. Is that paragraph? No, this is paragraph. And if it's not correct, sorry. This is div. This other div is going to contain, and you put these two guys inside of one div as well. So this other div is going to contain okay, sorry, the div that contains the paragraph, I've not even created that. So div dot card, let's say card text. yeah, cat text. And when we do div.cat text, we are going to put in the h1, and let's use an h2 instead. And this is going to say equally. And I have to do this very fast because I want us to be able to do what we are supposed to do today. But the point is that it's not for us to actually rush the classes. The point is so that whatever we are learning is going to stick. So I'm not trying to just finish it as fast as possible. It is that even if we do very little, let it actually stick. Equilibrium collection promotes balance and calm, if you say so. So let me just remove this placing here. Then under this div, remember that we've created how many div now? The main card div, then the other div is for the card image, then another div for this header and the paragraph. Then we are going to create another div, and I'm just going to add another comment to that. So we are going to create another div. This is the div for the NFT pricing and created time, if that makes sense in English, but you understand what I mean. So we'll create this other div, and this other div is going to be card details, and that's the details for the NFT, like the price and when it was created. So inside of here, what we are going to do basically is I want us to be able to group this guy and this guy together. So what we can do is, and this is standard, you can actually create another div here and call this what let's call it card. And I could have just used NFT instead of card, but it's fine. Or maybe NFT card, but just say card price symbol. Card price and symbol wrapper. Price symbol wrapper. Yeah. So this wraps the image we are using, which is the Ethereum image, which is going to be another image automatically. And the image is going to be from our images folder / Ethereum, this Ethereum icon.svg. So we're going to just say ETH here. Then the next thing we are going to do, and you see we've not really gone back to our HTML, but I can actually look at this card and know what exactly I need in terms of the HTML structure and to be able to create that card. And I don't know if you guys can resonate with me, please, or what I'm doing looks like magic to you. Hello? People of God, please.
No, sir.
Okay, you get it back. Can you just turn on your videos, please?
Yeah.
So that I'll know that I'm not being scammed. Okay. Okay, so basically, guys, I want to be seeing everybody, please.
Yeah. I have to leave and join back again.
Okay, thank you, please. Okay, so the idea here is you can remember what I said about building HTML component is like you trying to build a house. If you want a 2-bedroom flat, you know how to just lay the blocks. Before the POP, before the screening, before the painting, you should just be able to tell, okay, if it's a 2-bedroom flat, and there are different kinds of 2-bedroom flats in the world. It doesn't have to be the same structure, but once you take a look at it as an experienced builder, you should be able to know, okay, what and what you need to actually lay down that particular structure. So inspecting this this card element, I can actually tell, okay, this and this and this is what we need. And what we are using here so far, we are just using we are not using semantic tags, we are using non-semantic tags, because and I don't want to dwell so much on that. But you can see that, okay, first of all, I know we have to make our background, which is the body, because once we make the body we give the body a background color, every other thing takes that background color. Then when we create other elements on top of the body, it doesn't have that background color, or it shares that background color until we specify its own background color, or at least it remains transparent. So if we go back to our if we go back to our element, I said on your camera, I did not say unmute your mic, please. Turn on your camera, don't unmute your mic. So you can see that we have all of these stuff, and I haven't really saved. So when I save, you see that most of the things are. What is that?
I think it's Kinsley.
Okay,
Kinsley, your audio is disturbed.
I just shut him off. So we have this now, and you can see I can actually not just infer that okay, we need this in our design, and it's gradually coming together, and it will not make so much sense because you are very limited when you're writing HTML. But with HTML, you can actually create the structure. So when you look at a component like this, you should be able to know just how many tags you will need. You will not know how many tags just by looking at it, but by just inspecting, you will know, okay, this is the kind of tag I will use to create this one. This is the kind of tag I will use to create that one. That kind of stuff. So that's what we are really doing here. So I looked at this place. I know I have to give my body a background color. Look at this card. I know I have to create a div for this. Then look at this image here. I decided I'm going to put this image in a div as against just throwing everything around. And when you really group things like that, it gives you more control over your styling, and you'll understand that in a bit. You understand it? So let's just continue. So we've created this one div, which is going to be our Ethereum image. And then let me just, okay, this is our card. Then the second div we want to create, and let me just zoom this in a little bit. Zoom. Yeah. So I've zoomed it in a little bit, and it looks blurry. Okay, I think it's sharp now. So we have this now. Then the other one is this other, clock icon and 3D slip. So what we're going to do inside of this div as well, we're going to create a span element, and that's going to be an inline element, so that it just sits right beside. And the span element is supposed to have 0.041 ETH, and we can put space between 0.041 and ETH. Then I'll just copy this because what is to come is very similar to this. So remember, we are inside this card details div. So I created one div inside of it. Let me just collapse it so you can see. So there's one div inside of this card details div, and then underneath this div, I'm just going to create another div now, and I'll paste what I copied before. So this one is not price and symbol. This is going to be time wrapper, okay, or time and symbol wrapper. And you can actually name your, you can name your classes whichever way you want. But just make sure your class names are clear, because you can want to do a project now. You name one element, you name it after yourself. Maybe you name it Yetunde or you name it Kingsley. And when you are reading your CSS, you can't really tell which element you've given a class name of, Kingsley or Yetunde. But the idea is that when you see your CSS rule set, you can intuitively from the class name know which element you are referring to, even without going to go and dig. Imagine that you have a very big project. You have named all the elements after your your known nuclear family members. Give everybody, give one top, you give one triumph, you give one miracle, different kind of names like that. So when it's time for you to style it in your CSS, you have to go and start looking for it. But the moment I said, this one is my card price and symbol wrapper, I will know definitely that it talks about this. Isn't that true? You can easily know that, okay, it's talking about this. If I say time, it's talking about this, even without me having to go and dig the code, and you can easily tell what each element is referring to. So this is for the time. So yeah, so for the time now, we are going to just bring the clock icon, and then this has the icon clock, and you can see that the icons come before the text. So that's the same order we are putting it. We put the image, then we put the text afterwards. But this is not the text we are looking for now. The text we are looking for now is 3 days left. Yeah. So that's fine. So let's just inspect our HTML to know that we are still in order. So you can see that we have this now, and it doesn't really look like our dream destination, but don't worry, God does work miracles. So we'll get there. So the next thing we are going to do now is just to create this guy down here. And I see that, okay, Tope was the first person that finished this, and she added an horizontal row, here. But I will not be adding a horizontal row. So I'll just look at this card details. Then I'll create, the card footer. And the card footer is just basically going to be the creator icon and creator name. And that's what's going to be there. And I'll put that just in another div dot creator icon name. Wrapper. And you'll be seeing a lot of wrapper when you're writing this, because you want to know that, okay, this thing wraps other things. That's the idea for wrapper. It doesn't mean wrapper that for party or something. And I know you know that. I'm just joking. Okay, so Okay, the first thing we need here is an image. Definitely we need an image. So what we are going to do here is, because I'm actually seeing something dynamic here, and then what I would like to do here is to, kind of just create, another div inside of this div. And that's a kind of temptation. I can actually do without that extra div, but the idea is so that I can group these two things together using one div, and then the div is going to have a padding and a border top, and that's going to be this line here. Then I will, put another div so that I can be able to, put the image on one side, then this on another side. But let me just write the elements directly inside of this div for now, and let's see how that goes. So I'm just going to create this, and I'm going to, go to my images, and then I'm going to, pick the avatar, which is this guy here. Yeah, and that's the avatar. That is the avatar. Okay, and then I'm just going to call this avatar. I'm excited. It said avatar is coming out soon. Not the fire bend down, like the blue one. Okay, then the next thing, let's just, okay, I'm feeling slightly tempted to use a paragraph, but let's not use a paragraph. It's not going to be cool, because paragraph is block level. So let's not force paragraph to do what paragraph doesn't want to do. So what we are going to do here, but a paragraph would have been very good, because, and let's just use a paragraph just to teach you how you can manipulate a paragraph as such. So I'm going to put a paragraph, which is a P, and then I'll just keep it there like this. And inside of the paragraph, I'm going to create a span, and that span is going to, have this first text, creation of, then the, and I'll put a space in front of it. Then the other, text is going to be juice wyvern, and that is that about that. So as far as our HTML is concerned, now we are done. Like, we are really done. And then we don't look done yet, but God will help us. Yeah. So I think let's just get it up to this point. So I'll go over to see my CSS, and I really wish I can put all of these things. Okay, since we are doing CSS now, let me just, kind of just, but that's going to, it's going to look like, it's going to look like an aquarium and selling land. So let me just keep it here. I wanted to manage it. So, sorry if you are here and you are aquarium. Apologies to you. Okay. So what we are going to do is, let's just start styling this. Those silly jokes actually make you forget what you're trying to say. So so we are going to target our card first, because our card is in our body, obviously. So let us just look at our card element, and our card element is dot card. Yeah, no other than dot card. Then what is the background for the card? The background for the card is HSL 21650. So I'm just going to copy that. I don't have to memorize it since it's already there. And let's just get used to using background. It is the shorthand property, so we don't have to use background color. So I'll just save it. I can see that our card now has a background. Well, it doesn't look so encouraging just yet. But for now, I think just to, just to be on track, let's just try and sort this image, because the image is actually, misbehaving a lot and taking a lot of real estate on our screen. So let's reduce the image width, and so that we can, so that we can see road. So what we are going to do, let's just take that image, and this is now how to select the image, because if I do this to the image, okay, let me disable this guy. So if I disable for CSS, so if I get the card image, and I just decide to, this card image, this where is it? This card image actually pertains to this div, not the image element itself. So now, how do I select the image inside of the card image? Because if I do width of let's say 100, or sorry, 250 pixels, it might affect our div, but it doesn't necessarily affect our image. You can see that, because images don't actually follow this, they don't follow the normal flow. By default, they will take, and they call them elements with intrinsic values. That means you have to explicitly override their value if you want them to take on the value of their parent. They will not take on, they will not obey the dimension of their parent straight away. Like if you put an image, for instance, if I inspect this and then we come here and inspect this, you're actually going to see, and let me put this developer to below the screen, and if I inspect, you're actually going to see that our div, which is the card image, you can see how wide it is. It's actually as wide as this blue area you're seeing here, but you can see that somehow our image just kind of makes it out of that area we've designated to the parent, and the parent in this case is this div that has this card image, what's it called. So I'm going to select the image element, and this pertains to the image element directly inside of the card image. And when I do img and save it, our image should look smaller now. So we have this now, and what we can now do is we can come to this what's it called, and just tweak the width of our card itself. So let's tweak the width of our card and say the width of our card should be 250 pixels. And I don't know why I'm just running up and down this project, but that's the idea. And I want to also set the height. Sorry, set the height to main content, just like we did the last time. Yeah, so it's going to be as tall as the elements inside of it, but I want the card to actually be in the middle of the page straight away. Remember, we made our body a flex box the last time, so what we're just going to do now is, because our body is already a flex box, that means everything in our body will actually our body now spans across the screen, and we can now we have the liberty to arrange things across the screen. So what we are going to do to our bodies, we are just going to put a justify content center, and I said that one aligns the elements in a flex box horizontally, as long as the flex direction is still a row. So you can see that it aligns it horizontally. Then I'm going to do align items, and align items might not look very impressive right now. Align items center, and the reason why it might not look so impressive is because our body will be as high as the content inside of it. So let's just set the height of our body to 100 ph, which is 100. Sorry, why am I typing value without? So the height of our body is going to be 100 ph, and that's it. So it should move our card to the middle of the page. So we are in a good position. We are well positioned for the future now, and we are on our way to greatness. So what we need to do at this point is just go back to our card element here, and what we are going to do is we are just going to add padding to it, and our padding is going to be none other than 10 pixels, and no 100, not 110 pixels, 10 pixels. So 10 pixels looks good on our card, doesn't it? Yeah. So it kind of just, remember, this is the compound, and a very small compound. It's like the building is on the island, so the compound is so small. It's a padding of 10 pixels. If I want the padding to be bigger, all I just need to do is add more padding, like maybe 40 pixels, and you can see what that would look like now. Looks slightly ugly for our original design. So I'll just save again, Ctrl S, and then let's bring back our beautiful card image here, and you can see that we have a border radius around our card. So let's just go on to apply that now. So border radius on our card and on our card image, but let's just focus on the card for now. Let's make sure we are done with the card before we start going on to the card image and all of those. So for the card now, we have a border radius, and the border radius we are going to put on the card. And don't mind the fact that sometimes I will write a new rule set at the top, sometimes I will come to the bottom. It doesn't really matter, as long as you write the correct rule set and it's inside the correct selector, it's going to work. It doesn't matter which one you put first. Yeah. So yeah, that's the point. So our border radius is going to be 8 pixels, and let's see what that looks like. Does it look as rounded as we need it to be? I don't think so. So I think what we are looking at here might be around 12 pixels, and let's see what that looks like. So I think that's more like it. So it's more like a 12 pixels, right? So, and I think the padding is slightly more than what we gave. So let's add maybe like 15 pixels of padding to this, and I think it looks more like it now. Maybe more like it. I don't like too much padding, by the way, on this kind of thing. So let's just keep it this way for now. And then there's one other thing, and that's this box shadow on the image. So let's just try and fix the box shadow, and it looks as though the box shadow is starting from here and it's spanning towards the edge of the the card. So let's see if there's a provisioning for box shadow on the card. If there's no provisioning for box shadow on the card, what we just need to do is we have to go to maybe go online and just generate a box shadow for ourselves and call it a day. So we'll come here and just let's just CSS box shadow generator. And I do most of these things so that when you run into problems, you can actually know that Google is always there for you to look for solutions to your problem. That's how every developer works. And if anybody tells you otherwise, they lie. So you can always go to Google stuff, and you can see that we have a shadow around it, so we can just tweak this around a little bit to make it look like what we want. So what we want, the vertical offset is slightly below the card, and then the spread radius is kind of more so this is more like what we want. Yeah, it looks more like this, but the spread radius is still looking not so good. So the horizontal, what's it called, it's more like this. So the vertical stuff, wow. So let's just probably reduce the spread radius a little bit. Let me increase this. I don't know why it's just coming way out of the bottom. So spread radius. I'm just trying to show you, what you can come up with regarding things like this. So let me just use my keyboard to adjust it. Then for the vertical one. So what I'm going to do is I'll just copy this. Then when we get to our CSS, we can now decide to tweak it ourselves. So I'll copy this rule set here. And then for shadow opacity, which is the transparency of the shadow, let's just reduce that a little bit. And then we'll also work on the color to match the colors we have on our project already. Yes. So let's just take this and then come back to our project here. So we just try to apply the shadow. And we'll come to box shadow eventually, but we are not just emphasizing on that for now, because we are still talking about different CSS properties that you can use in your project. So when I save that, I saved the browser window. So you can see that we have this kind of the shadow around our element, but it looks too much. So let's just come here and reduce the opacity even further. Then we're going to reduce the what's it called. So let me save this. So it looks faint now, and then for the tweaking, let's just I think this is a little bit too much. So let's save and see what that looks like. So okay, it's still slightly very obvious, and I don't want it to be as obvious as that. But just know that this is not a box shadow class. But you can see that we have a little shadow around our element now. Can you guys see? Hello?
Yeah, we can see
You
it.
can see it. Okay, so let's just keep it out. So, this is not a box shadow crash course, because each one of these does something to the shadow, and you can even add a whole lot of other properties to values to this to kind of make it look nicer. But let's just keep it like this for now. So let's go back to our what's it called, our image, and that is supposed to be, where's the image we are working with this? Here. So let me just bring it over to the side. So this is the image we're working with. So right now, okay, we have the shadow around it, and then I think we are done with the styling of the image. And I think what we actually had before kind of looks, let's just leave it the way it was before. So I think it looks the shadow is actually as obvious as that. I thought it wasn't that obvious. You can see that it spreads across the bottom just like this, but let's just leave it this way. Yeah. So let's drag this over to this side a little bit. So we are done with the card itself, and we might need to add some, we don't need to add anything basically, because we are not done with the styling. It's still looking so long because of these other elements that we need to, put in order. So the next thing we need to do is let's just target the image. So we are done with the card. Let's deal with the first element inside of the card, which is the image. So, and that's this image. But what we are going to do right now is, Jesus, my back. So we're going to do border radius, and we're going to do border radius of 12 pixels, just like we did with the card, and see what that looks like. So you can see that it's kind of just have this rounded edge, just like why does this guy still keep avoiding me? So yeah, so let's bring it back. So the idea is I want it to be underneath here. So the image, I think the image shadow is not, sorry, the border radius on the image is not as much as the one on the card. So let's reduce this. So I think this looks fine, and then let's see if every other thing is fine. So I think the padding, their padding is slightly more than what we have on ours. So let's increase the padding on our image to about 18 pixels and see what that looks like. So I think it's okay now. Looks, and yeah, just look like what they have. So now I think we are done with this with the image here. And remember that we didn't really do anything for now with the div that wraps the image, and that is absolutely fine. You don't have to worry about that. But remember that the image in itself is an inline element, and provided we didn't do this, the image in itself is an inline element. So putting it in a div makes it behave like a block level element. You see, it's actually spiraling out of proportion now, and that's because we haven't selected it properly. But I just decided to put it inside of a block level element, and then we can call it a day as such. So I think one of the things we can actually do here is set the width of our image to 100 pixels, 100% rather, and that means it's going to be as wide as the div that is wrapped around it. So that means the image will be as wide as this div, and that's fine. And the div will be as wide as the card, which is the parent. So that's the idea behind it. So the next thing we need to look at here is how to begin to style this our header. And what I would encourage you to do is when you are adding margin top and bottom, for instance, be consistent while you're adding margin top and bottom. For instance, there's a space between these two elements. I mean, between the image and then the h2, which is in our case an a h2 tag. So what you need to do is to understand the fact that if you added a margin bottom to space this, also make sure that you use a margin bottom to space this. So don't use margin bottom here. Now you use margin top for the image. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm talking about. So be consistent. It doesn't mean that anybody is going to die or something is going to go wrong or your project won't work well, but that consistency kind of just keeps you organized so that when you run into problems, you can easily debunk what the issue is. And I'll show you what I mean by margin bottom and margin top in a bit. So to space out this card from this image, we are going to use margin bottom. We are going to come from the top to the bottom. So that means we are going to, on the card image, this card image class here, not the image element in it, the card image itself, we're going to say card image, and we're going to give it a margin bottom. And a margin bottom, we want to give it a margin bottom of 15 pixels, and let's just see what that looks like. So you can see we have that space now between this and this. So we have that space. So all we need to do here is, and remember that this is the this is not the shorthand margin property. We have a shorthand margin property where you have to pass in 4 values, like 0 pixels for the top, maybe 0 pixels for left and right, then bottom will be 15, and then left is going to be whatever I set it to, maybe 0 pixels. And when we do this, it's going to work the exact same way, yeah, because we are passing the what's it called, the margin to the bottom. Is going to be the exact same thing that we said, but this is the same as saying margin bottom 15 pixels like we did before. It's still the same. So you can see that it's still exactly the same, so it doesn't change anything. So what we can now do here is, I think since we are done with the spacing between here and here, then the next thing we'll have to do is now focus on this particular element here. The way we focus on that element is by targeting the appropriate selector. So we know that element, the h1, is inside of a div called card text, and inside card text we have an h1 element, and then we have a paragraph. So we're going to come down here and do a class, select that class, and then selecting a class, we are going to select the is it h1 or h2 we called it. So it is h2 actually, not h1. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the color, and I have no idea what the color is for now. I think it's white, but let's see what the style guide has to say. Let me remove this. So the font size for the paragraph is 18 pixels. Then for the text, the primary color, soft blue. Let's see this color and see if that's what they actually recommending to use for the header. So the header, let's pass in this color and see what that looks like. Oh, I don't think that is the color we're talking about. I think this color is the color for the paragraph and this other stuff. So let's see the other color, the cyan, and then let's see. If not, I think that paragraph is actually white and nothing else. So let's
So it's white. Just
okay.
white.
White, right? Okay, I think this is it. It's not actually white.
For the H2 is white.
Is it white?
The equilibrium. Yes. That's the one you are starting is the original image.
Okay, I think that's the one for the Ethereum, blah blah blah. So
yeah, equilibrium.
let's do white. And remember, I can do white as such using the keyword, and I can use FFF using the X code, and I can do FFF in 6 places. It's still the same thing as doing it in 3 places. But just to save ourselves the stress, let's just write 3 of F's, and that's white. So the next thing is our paragraph now. And remember what I said about consistent spacing. So we know that there's a space between our paragraph and then our H1. Then the spacing is this space right here. So what we are going to do now is we are going to add this spacing, and just like we use margin bottom here, we are also going to use margin bottom here. We will not try to add margin top to our paragraph just to add the space. Let's keep using margin bottom to space things vertically as we go down the ladder. So let's do margin bottom, and we'll do a margin bottom of 10 pixels to see what that looks like. Yeah, and then we have that space in between the paragraph, and I think the spacing here is actually more than 10 pixels. I think it's okay. I think the space here and here is actually, they are looking equal to me. I don't know, but that's fine. I don't have the luxury of inspecting it because we have to run very fast. We are almost how many minutes into this? Okay, then that's for the H. Then for the paragraph, and we are going to just do card text and P, which is selecting the paragraph inside of it. And then the paragraph is going to have a font size of 18 pixels. Yeah, 18 pixels, and then it's going to have a color of see this one or this one. Okay, I think it is this one. HSL this. So let's just add that color here. No. So that's it. So I think, yeah, so we have that now, and I think this is where our font weight comes to play. So I think we need to set a font weight of 300 to that paragraph. Yeah, I believe, because it looks slightly light. So we set a font weight of 300 and see what that looks like. Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. So we have to add the spacing, still using margin bottom. So we do margin bottom, and then margin bottom of 15 pixels, I suppose. Yeah, so that's the space between here and here, and it doesn't have to be a perfect spacing because you can keep experimenting with it. Okay, I think 20 pixels actually look closer compared to 15 pixels. Are you sure this is the color we are dealing with here? Doesn't look like that color to me. I think it's the color actually. Okay, but that's fine. It's not a color class too. So the next thing we have to do, I think we are done with this section. Actually, we are basically done with this section. So the next thing is to target here. And I know here is a problem for most people. Isn't that true?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so pay good attention.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's copy this, and then copying this, let's target that particular class using the selector. So the first thing you want to do first of all is to put these two things side by side, and you can see that with just 2 lines, I probably will solve the problem you thought was impossible to solve. So we'll do a display of flex. Yeah, flexbox actually makes your element span across the screen. Then the next you want to do, this time we are not doing justify content center. And remember, the justify content is basically for the horizontal axis. So what we are going to do is we are going to do space between, and that should be it. Can you see it now? As easy as that. Does it make sense? Hello? Okay, this is what you needed.
another way you can do that apart from this justify this space in between?
Yeah, you could do float, but float is old CSS. You don't have to worry about using that anymore. And you could also decide to use margin, like some people did, but I wouldn't encourage using margin, because when I told you initially during the preliminary stage of this class that you should be aware of using absolute values. The moment you start using absolute values, now imagine you use margin. As your screen becomes smaller and smaller, it becomes a problem for you, because it will have to retain that margin, and then your element begins to misbehave. So that's why I say always beware of using absolute values when you're trying to add space or creating height or something. It's always good to use relative values, use percentages sometimes. And in this case, we actually have an out of the box solution that you can just use that. The flex box will be the one to calculate the space in between by itself. You don't have to manually enter the value for the spacing. Does that make sense? Yeah, but this is standard anyway, anytime. Just use flex. Justify content, space between. And the other thing you can do is, without using justify content, they are still going to be side by side like this. Then you can now come and select this other div, which is the card time symbol wrapper. This one, yeah. Because the moment you put something inside of a flex box, you can now use it can behave like a block level element. So you can do margin left, yeah, I suppose auto. Then it's going to take as small space as it needs. So you can see that gives us another result. Gives us the same result. Are you using an earpiece?
So I guess the absolute value is quite easier. Can you hear me?
The absolute value is not quite easier. It's going to be problematic. Do you understand?
The absolute value is
I can't hear. If you are using an earpiece, please just remove it and talk from your normal device.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, better.
Sorry, I was seeing my MP.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that you said the absolute value is the justified content, the space between, instead of using margin.
No. The absolute value is you doing something. Okay, for instance, I use margin auto. Auto is not an absolute value. Auto is telling CSS to calculate and push this element to the. When I do margin left auto, I'm telling it push it to the other end as much as with as much space as is available between that will be available between the two elements. So now think of me doing something. Let me save it now. They come back together. Now imagine me doing something like experiment in 30 pixels. Obviously it will shift to the other side a little bit. I now come back again and say, okay, it has not completely shifted to the other side. Then I do 40 pixels. Just keep experimenting, and eventually I might get to this end. You get, but that value is an absolute value, and when you start getting to smaller screen sizes, it will still be demanding that same amount of space because you use an absolute value. 40 pixels will always be 40 pixels. But when I do something like auto, CSS will automatically calculate the margin and find it for me between those two elements. For margin left, if you use margin top, it does the same thing. It will take as much space as is available on top of the element. You get the point? But you cannot use margin auto with I think inline element basically, except they are in a flex box. Yeah, so I think we should just use justify content space between. And with justify content space between, it just finds itself on the other end without you having to do so much thinking. Just like this. Yeah. So we have this now. And I think we still need to tweak our spacing a little bit. Everything still looks like clustered together, but that's fine. So let's just leave it. Card details. So since card details, I think they share, okay, they don't share the same color. So, but this particular part here actually, is having one color. So I think we are done with the layout of this particular section. So let's go deeper, and going deeper means let's target one element at a time. Yeah, so that means we are dealing with this price and the symbol for now. So let's go back to HTML and see the name we call it. So we called it what? Price, card price symbol wrapper. So we take that as well. And what we are going to do is we are going to select that element in CSS. And I hope, like a lot of things are covering up in terms of your understanding, like you are getting a lot of things as I'm, doing this project with you in this class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can see that this text now is at the baseline of the icon. They are not aligned on the same level. It's more like, and if you look at what we have here, they are on the same level, right? It's more like they are on the straight line. But for this one, the text is kind of just saggy, like it's underneath the image. And you can also decide to use absolute values, like just add margin under your text until you are sure that, okay, what's it correct, like it's now correct. You can do that, but that's also going to be problematic when you move to some kind of other different screen sizes and so on. It will be a problem. I'm teaching you responsive design, but I'm not teaching you responsive design, because when we do responsive design fully, we are going to be looking at something they call media queries, but we are not doing any of that yet, because if we start doing it now, it's going to overcomplicate what we already have now. So what we are going to do now is, let's just target these two for now. And the way you can perfectly align things inside of, we put both of them in a div, which is this div. This div contains both the image and then the span. So what we can quickly do to just solve that problem of, this one being underneath and this one being at the top, is just come here and add a display of flex to the element, which is your wrapper, and then you do align items. Align items has to do with vertical alignment. Then you do align item center, and that should be just fine. So it should, kind of, okay, I think I need to look at the image size. Okay, I did display of block, not flex, sorry. So I think that's the problem. So you can see that align it to this middle now. Can you see that? So now, but we need a space between the icon and then the image here and then the text. So that means we have to start targeting individual elements. So what we are going to do here is we just take this image element here. The way we take the image element is by targeting the parent, which is the card price, symbol wrapper, and we target the image. And on the image, you put a margin, margin right, because we don't need so much margin. We just need a little margin to push the text to the other side. Margin right of 5 pixels. What is happening here? Okay, margin. It's not margin, it's margin. Oh, margin. Okay, that's R in front of the G. Jesus, what is happening to me? Okay, margin right. So that's it. So what did I do? 50 pixels, supposed to be 5 pixels. Okay, so you can see that this is just a small space, so it doesn't matter how the screen becomes small and small. 5 pixels shouldn't be much of an issue to worry about. You get the point? And we're not really trying to push something to an extreme or something like that. We're just trying to create space between two elements grouped together. So let's see if our space is standard. I think our space is standard. So the next thing we need to do is we need to target this what's it called, the span element inside of the price symbol wrapper. So the way we target it is by doing dot card price symbol wrapper, and we target this span element, and what we want to add to it is color, and that's this what's that color, this very light color. And I have no idea what that light color is, and I think that should be this. Okay, we've already used one of those colors, so that's 21551. So I think it should be this color. And I don't know why everybody's using HSL these days. So you can see, so we have that color now. So I think this side is okay now. Yeah, it looks fine. So we now target this other side, and of course we use the same rule to align this text to the middle, and it looks as though this stuff is looking actual. It's actually looking very big to me, but let's just try and finish the overall layout. There's something they call UI cleanup. After we finish the work, we can now start looking at things and say, okay, maybe we should add a little bit more here or remove a little bit from here. We can do all of that later, but let's target the second element, which is the time. So we do card time symbol wrapper. Let me just copy so that I don't make mistakes. So card time symbol wrapper. So we do dot card time symbol wrapper, and then what we want to target, first of all, we want to give it a display of flex like we did before. Display of flex. And we could have just added a similar class between this and this just for this display of flex, but let's just leave that for now. Then we'll do align items center, and that should also align this vertically to the image. And then yeah, so that's it. So, and I think this text actually looks slightly big, but that's fine. So for now, let's just do card time symbol wrapper, and let's target the image, and let's add a margin right of 5 pixels as well, just to create that space in between the two of them. And the more the space comes in between these two, the more the space here that we are using, justify content center will be reduced, because now the elements are requiring more space to be rendered. And let me just reduce this to 4 pixels and reduce it down to 4 pixels. The 5 pixels looks very big to me. Okay, so that's fine. So now what is the color on this one? So the color on this one looks like the color on a paragraph. So let's just get this color here and paste it over, the next element, which is also a span tag, which is this span tag inside of this image, blah blah blah, and card time symbol. So we do card time symbol. It didn't work. Yeah. Then we target the span element, and in the span element we just want to paste that color. Yeah, and then we save it. So this should have that color now. So I think it looks okay. So we have this and this. Then now our target is now going towards the footer of the card. Yeah, we are about to just round up. So I think we are done with this part for now. We are done with this part for now. We are done with this part for now. So what we need to target now is this part. So creator icon name blah 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 blah. So so paste this, and then what we need to do is, first of all, let us let our image hear the word of the Lord. So we just have to reduce the image size. So, and then let's make this a display. Let's make it have a display of flex. Display flex, so that they can be side by side for now. So I'll save it. So they are now side by side, but it doesn't look so encouraging, does it? So I'll target the image inside of it, which is the img tag, and I'll put a width of let's say 40 pixels, and that should be fine. Is it fine? Maybe it's not fine. Let's make it 30 pixels. Yeah. Okay, and that looks more like it. Then we also set the height, because the aspect ratio.
So
Yeah.
the margin bottom for the price
Yeah, we've not added
is
the
not
tags.
included.
Yeah, let's actually add that now. So card, what's the element we are looking at here? We are looking at this card details, right? Yeah, we are looking at the card details. So card details, let's add a margin bottom. Margin bottom. Eventually would have come to that, but let's just add it. You spotted it now. So we'll do 15 pixels. Yeah. Yeah, the margin is okay, because we are still going to add padding after adding this border. So let's leave the margin that way for now. Do you understand? We are still going to add padding to this particular element, padding top and bottom. So so as a matter of fact, let's just do that now before we start going to the image. Oh, I just want the image to look small, because so that it doesn't make our stuff look ugly. So we are going to do a border top, and we've been doing border all the way, but you can do a border top of 1 pixel solid. And we talk about border as soon as we finish this. That's the next property we'll be talking about. 1 pixel solid, and then the color for the border is what I'm not quite sure of. So we just pick dark blue, dark black. So I think let's just pick this color for now for the border, and I think that doesn't look so great. So for the border, I think it's just a regular gray border, if I'm not mistaken, right? Okay, nobody's sure. So let me just put
I think it's that soft blue color.
Yeah. It's what?
Yeah, I used my own.
I think it's the soft blue color. The one in the style type.
Which one? The soft blue. Okay, let's
Yes.
notch the soft blue and see what that looks like. So we'll paste it here and see
So
that.
question,
Is it?
sir.
Yeah.
I used HR in my own and it worked. So I don't know.
Like I told you that you should be aware of things like HR and so on. You don't even have to use HR, because HR is just like, you're just looking for a quick way to escape. Most people actually use HR because they just wanted to come from this line to this other line, and then they use margin, maybe margin 40 pixels here and so on, just to push this to the other side. But we are not doing that now. You don't have to use HR if you don't want to, and you don't even have to use HR if you really understand most of these things I'm talking about. So adding the border, now let's add a padding, and we're going to add a padding of 10 pixels to the top and bottom and 0 pixels to the left and right. So we have something like this now, and then I think at this point let's just compare the two of them. So I think the margin and the padding needs to be more than that. So let's just add a padding of 15. So let's see how that is. So that looks okay. So let's go back to this price details or card details and increase the what we have here to 20. So I think that looks better. So the next thing we have to do now is, okay, this is and we are almost there, right? Yeah. So yeah. So for this image now, one other thing you can do is we are going to add a border radius, and the border radius we want to add, because if you look at the image, you can see this white stuff around the image, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to add a border radius, and the border radius we want to add is going to be 1 pixels, or let's make it 2 pixels this time. And then we are going to make it solid, and there are different types of border styling. So but let's just stick to this solid now. Sorry, border radius, no, we don't need that. So first of all, let's just add border, then we'll talk about border radius, sorry, in a bit. So our border is 2 pixels solid, and then what color is that? I think that's white. Yeah, so let's just use the X code for white, FFF, and then save it. You can see that we'll get a border, and the border doesn't look like what they have here. So one thing about border radius is that as long as your width and height are equal, you can set a border radius of half of your either your width or height to get a perfect circle. And this is what I mean. So you can set 15 pixels, and then it's going to give you a perfect circle around your image, and it doesn't look so perfect. So what you do most of the time is do border radius and you do 50%. So you can see you have a perfect circle now. Hello?
Yes, sir.
So around the image.
Yes, sir.
And I think it is too thick actually. So let's make it 1 pixel. So I think that's it. Huh?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
what if the height and the width are not the same?
If the height and the width are not the same, okay, let's experiment around that. It's going to look like an egg. Do you like eggs? So it's going to look like an egg.
Yeah.
So for you to get rounded, a rounded border radius, you have to have equal width and height. Just keep that in mind. So you save yourself a lot of trouble. But what you use to actually have this rounded, stuff is, you can even make something that is a square, become rounded just by using border radius. But you have to be sure that you set the width and height to the same equal value, or to the same equal value, to equal values rather. Yeah. Oh Jesus. Okay, so I think that's that about this part. So the next thing we have to do now, I think our paragraph here is kind of jumpy. It is like towards the top of the image. So let's just apply that trick to align both of them to the same horizontal axis. So what we are going to do is we target the appearance, which is this create icon name, blah blah blah. So display flex. So what we need to do now is what do we need to do now? Can somebody guess? For vertical alignment.
I used vertical align middle.
Okay, since we are in a flex box, you don't have to use vertical align, and we are on the parent container, not on the element itself. What we can do is we can, okay, let's just take the easy route. Align items.
So how about align items, flex and
Center. Align items flex, and we push this guy. We push both of them to the end of the flex. That means they will be at the end of the box, not the middle. Can you see that it's now at the bottom of the element with the lowest height will align to the bottom of the element with the highest height, or the higher height. Yes, so what we need to do in this case, just to align item center and let everybody rest. So you can see that, and then the other thing we need to do is just target this our image tag here, and then add a margin left like we've been doing before. So add a margin right, and add a margin right of 4 pixels. I guess that's what we've been doing. So kind of push that over to the other side. So now let's focus on our paragraph, which is this paragraph here. So let's pick the parent and select creator icon name. No, now please help me. Yeah, icon name wrap, and we are targeting a paragraph, And then targeting a paragraph, we just want to set the color of the paragraph to this color. I think that's white, or is it the same color as Ethereum? I don't think so. I think it is white.
It's what?
So color is FFF, and then save it. So it makes it white. So now we have a challenge. We need to set this equal to the other color. So can you just walk me through how we need to do that? Nobody wants to walk me through. Okay, so Jesus. So we need to use the same color we had on this on the paragraph, and that's which color do we have on the paragraph again? I think it is this one. Is it that one? Maybe. So let's go. I don't know why I keep forgetting. So color, not columns, and that is this color here. And then I think there's a problem here. Okay.
So, sorry, how about if we span the Jews or wherever in the name instead of the creator? Is it
You
going to
can-
affect it too?
You can still instead of making
Instead
this,
of spanning creation.
you can invert it. It's still the same thing. You
Okay.
get the point? Because I could have as well added the span to this, then added the color that the white to the to the span, then now add adding this other color to the paragraph. I could do that as well. I could have done that here. So I think let's just do a very quick comparison between what we have here and what we have here. So now I think in this case we might just have to reduce this font size because it looks annoyingly big to me. So yeah, font size on our paragraph is 18 in this context. So let me just make it 16. Make it look nicer. It doesn't have to be 18. So yeah, and then what's the next thing? And I actually think this font is actually smaller. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
Yes, sir.
This,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
so I think it should be about a 14 or thereabout. Is that more like it?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah. So and then for the we've not really applied most of this font weight stuff that we have here. So I think the H1 should have a font weight of 600. So where's the H2 rather? So we do a font weight of 600. And font weight don't have pixels. So that's this. So instead of using font weight of 600, you can do bold. You can do bolder. There are actually different values for font weight. And let me just try and get a drop down for that. Just to kind of show you. So you can see, so you can see all the proportions that you can use. You can use lighter, bold, 900 to 100. So if I use 100, it's going to be very thin and unfed. So you can see it looks very thin. So, but the guide says to use 600, so we use 600. So that's that. And then I think we need to reduce the font size of this H1 as well. So font size. Let's make it 22 pixels and see how that looks. Okay, I think that looks much better. No, it doesn't look so great. So let me still reduce it further. Let me make this 400 and see. I think this is a 400 then, but it's not as thick as it was. So, and then these are the things you do once you are just done with, you've done the heavy lifting of your styling. You can just do all this other, looking at it again and seeing where you need to add this or add that. You get the point. So you can do all of that at your own time. So, but you don't have to really worry about it. So for card details, I just want the font size of everything inside card details to look kind of smaller. So instead of passing it to the first span and then the second span, let me just come here, do a font size of, let's say, 14 pixels, and let's see what that looks like. So it should be inheriting it, but I don't think it's inheriting it. So the reason it's not inheriting it is because we're already passing this to all the paragraphs inside of card. So no. Let's just take a look at that to be sure where that. I don't think it's actually picking the font size of 14 that we just set to it. So let's take a look at where that is coming from, if it has any default font that we need to be aware of. So we have the span here. Okay, so we want the span to inherit a font size actually. So but on card details, it is already getting font size of 14 pixels. Okay, I think it actually got it. It was applied. I thought it wasn't applied. So it's inheriting it from card details here. So an inherited font family from from the body. And when we remove this, it's going to kind of just play with the font family. So I think we're in a very good position to say I think we are done with the project. So every other thing you have to do is just be just clean up things and try to be sure that okay, your spacing is okay, your fonting is okay, and I think we need to reduce this font as well. This one at the very last paragraph. So that's card icon blah 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 name. So let's just make the font size 14 pixels as well. So that kind of makes it smaller, and then I think that's fine. I want to go over this so that we can actually achieve something else today. So are you guys satisfied with this? Do you have any questions so far? Or is it very
Yes, sir. I noticed something at the top
okay? What's
of
that?
this CSS styling. When you put HTML, then body, I don't really understand why.
Okay, what I said is that you can apply the same rule set, CSS rule. And what I mean by CSS rule is this bunch of property value pair to multiple selectors at the same time. And what I mean by multiple selector is just you picking one selector, which is this HTML tag name selector, and then the body selector, and you just use a comma to separate them, and I can add as many as I want. I can do a maybe like what do I do? I want to look for a more obvious and annoying thing to set, and I want to do, let's say, like what can we pass as an inheritance? Let me just say background color, and let me pass the background color of red. It will apply to, and we're already doing something similar here. So let me just comment this out, and it's going to mess up a lot. Let me just comment this background color I passed in. So you can see we have a background color of red. Now if I do a comma and also include a paragraph, all our paragraphs will be affected as well. So you can apply the same rule set to multiple elements. Can you see that?
Also,
And it looks very bad, doesn't it?
ugly.
Yeah. So I think guys, we are done, right? Are there any other questions? Hello?
We're here, sir.
Eh? No question.
We're here, sir.
Okay, quickly, let's go over to
Sir, please just a quick question.
okay.
I noticed that the line, like normally we used to use HR, but you said we should not use HR. But the footer, okay, let me just call it footer. The footer, the line that divides the footer and the other body of the work, it's thicker than the original image. The original image is thin.
Yeah, the smallest dimension you get is 1 pixels. And I think the only difference is that this color is brighter. I don't think that's the color we have here. So what we can just do in this case is just go over to that element.
Because I think they have in the style guide, there's a color they wrote line.
And where is it? I didn't see that. I don't even look at it.
Very dark blue line.
Oh. Okay. I think that's the point there. So let's just, instead of using this, and one of you recommended this color to us. So I think this is it. Can you see now? It looks more
Yes,
like
sir.
yeah. So it's because the color is so bright. That's why it's looking as though it's thicker. It is not.
Okay.
Yeah. Even by default, your HR is 1 pixels until you now decide to increase the height. So that is fine. So like we are supposed to go into some other CSS properties tonight, like borders, text direction, and so on. But I don't know if you guys have assimilated so much that you think we should just end the session at the moment. But know that we have 6 weeks, and this is, I guess, the 4th week, or is it the 3rd one?
Third week.
Okay.
The 3rd one in Jesus' name.
Is the 3rd one, and the 3rd, it's already over now. It's already over. Okay, so if you're tired, I see you on Monday. And for those who will be having the makeup class, we have the makeup class tomorrow. Yeah, that will be in the late in the evening tomorrow. Yeah.
Late in the evening.
Yeah, for the makeup class. For those
Makeup
who,
class.
yes.
Makeup class is with respect to the former class.
Yes,
Just
the
concluded
former
former
classes
class.
the ones you missed, if you missed anyone.
Oh,
Okay, so I think that's fine. And the more I look at this thing, the more I see what I'm supposed to, what I should add and adjust. And that's the thing really. Sometimes when you're done with the design, you just spend more time just looking at it. Then you begin to see what you need to just kind of work around it a little bit more. Okay, so I think that's my idea. So that's it. So
Because I also noticed that the spacing, is it the margin bottom now? The margin bottom of our footer, the spacing between the footer and the bottom on our own is a bit, I think it's a bit much than the one on the original
it's because of the
image.
padding we added. And when you see things like that, what you just need to do is inspect that element and see where that excess
Okay.
spacing is coming from. Once you hover on top of the element, you hover on top of it. You can see that we have a padding around it. Then there's a default padding on the card
Yes.
itself. So what we can do in this case is, since we know that the spacing looks so much, we can now do a padding bottom inside of and you can decide to just type your style scene directly here and do maybe like what's currently there is 15 pixels. You can decide to do like a 5 pixels and see what that looks like. You see it steps down a little bit. So you can now go back to your code and the next parameter definitely has to be our bottom. So we can now make our bottom 5 pixels. And let me just
5 pixels.
you can do all of that at your own time. Yeah. But the most important thing is just once you are done with the heavy lifting, then everything will just kind of fall in line eventually. Yeah, so I think this is more like what you're looking for.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Another thing, equilibrium. See the way it is. I don't know, the one we just concluded now and the image from the desktop.
Yeah.
Our phone that we just did now still looks bigger. It's
The
older
thing is that
than.
my screen is actually bigger, so that's one thing. And then this one is not the actual, it's not the perfect size. It's zoomed in. You get, and
Okay.
you get the point. So this one is zoomed in, but I don't think it looks bigger. Do you guys agree with that? I don't think it looks big.
Oh, it's fine. It's okay. It's fine now. If you zoom out, it's fine.
Actually, you can zoom this out and zoom it in. So it depends on the what's it called? The aspect ratio, whatever you may call it. So that's fine. So I think I'm actually very tired myself. But if you guys want us to continue, we'll continue. But if you guys are also tired, then I'll help you. So no question. We can't. Hello?
I think we are okay. But I don't know. Do we have this on our YouTube? I don't know.
Yes, it is.
And as for the Discord, I don't know. Can you paste the link again so that I could join?
Okay, let me just get the Discord link and paste it inside of.
On our WhatsApp group, or not here. So,
Okay, that's
thank
fine.
you.
Sir, please don't forget to upload this code to Git so that we can send the link.
I always upload the
So I
code.
can so I can compare it to our own format.
So that means this assignment is now null and void. It is now worthless. So we have to do another one. But you can just try code. Yes, now. That means before I upload the code, you have to do it first. You can use YouTube as a guide to help you. But I won't. Okay, until everybody. As a matter of fact, I think this is what I'll do now. You must finish the assignment before I upload the code. So you start begging one another to finish the assignment so that you can see the code.
Sir, please, I have a suggestion.
Okay.
Because we have 3 classes a week,
Yeah.
and most times when we like, if we have an assignment before a class, so we have to like review the assignments, correct mistakes, and all that. So most times we're already like mentally tired before the class, like the main class actually starts.
Just like today.
So my suggestion is, if we have like, since we have 3 classes a week, maybe we can have one day where we review the assignments, and
Okay.
then the other classes will now just be for the class. Like for today, to be honest, I get this assignment, the corrections and everything, but it's almost like we've not done anything. We've not
New.
gone forward.
Yeah.
Yes, we've not done anything new. Yes. So that's why I'm thinking that maybe we should just have one day where we review the assignments. Then the other 2 days, we can now like have the actual class.
Okay, but the voting okay, well, it's more like what we are still it's going to look like. But I think if possible, because initially I didn't even review assignments during class, and I think if we really have to go forward, we might just have to look for a different model to handle the assignments. I don't even like, even the third day giving one another, the third day to assignments is going to be a very big loss, on the time wise. So it shouldn't even, I wasn't even motivated to do this today, but since I saw that a lot of people haven't even done the assignment, so I just decided, let's just go by it. But it's not something I would normally do, and I don't think I've ever done that. I talk about assignment. I think that's mostly for the first opening 30 minutes basically, or maybe some extra time you get. Then we just have to go into what we have to do. I don't know if you guys get that.
Okay.
And I think that's what we've been doing